All right, 2020 is already starting out huge for us here at Another Wrestling Podcast. Today we are here with one of the biggest names we've ever had on the podcast. He's from a legendary acting family. He starred in more than 100 films. Oh, and just so happens he's a former WCW champion as well. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Mr. David Arquette.
Oh yeah, former WCW champion. I know they said that at a match I just recently had. I end up just apologizing to the crowd, really.
Listen, there's nothing to apologize for. It was a part of history, whether people like it or not. And
Right on.
Happy New Year. How's it going?
Good, man. I rang in the new year with RJ City, Colt Cabana, Joey Ryan, Watts, the Rockness Monsters. A bunch of great wrestlers, and it was a really fun time. We did a 10 count on the top of the corner ropes, all four corners, a count down.
Oh.
So we were actually wrestling from 2019 into 2020. Yeah, Jervis was there too.
Now, David, we talk a lot about being a former world heavyweight champion as yourself, but I know when we talked a while ago, I know you've gotten a lot of heat over the years for your title win, but I must say what you have been doing over the past few years in the wrestling world, I would say that you've redeemed yourself, I would believe. How has it been for you to get out there with countless promotions and do what you ultimately love, which is pro wrestling?
It's been great, man. I mean, the greatest part of it is that I've been accepted into the locker room as one of the boys. And I have such a respect and love for this business and what the sort of real professional wrestlers do. So just to be sort of accepted and included, it's been a real honor. I mean, I'm learning stuff every time I go in the ring. You know, I get to work with these guys. Working with Colt Cabana, Joey Ryan was just such a thrill, man. These guys, they just are such pros at the world of wrestling, but also just the storytelling element and the character development and the comedy component. You know, I learned a lot from RJ City too, my tag team partner, although he's kind of prickly. He's actually here with me if you want to talk to him in a second. He's quite a character, but it's been great. You know, it's been a great thing. But you know, I've been filming it all for a documentary called "You Cannot Kill David Arquette," and the final line I say in the movie is, I got a couple moves, but I'll never be a great professor. I've kind of accepted that. It's good to know your limitations, but it's also, part of it's putting on a show, and whenever we go in there, we give it our all, and it's tough on the body. It's a brutal business, and it's far realer than anybody could ever imagine.
Well,
so you step in there and take a nice, good shot to the head. Or your back, like my back, my neck, everything's out now.
Yeah.
Well, you've obviously you had before you even started back in 2018, you had the highest career high that one can ever achieve, which is the being a champion in the sport. So now that you're kind of back into the business, and you've mentioned you're wrestling everywhere, what's the most surreal thing been for you in this go around in the business? What's happened to you that you just can't believe?
Oh man, just doing things like just doing a run-in with Mick Foley and Jerry the King Lawler, taking a pile driver from Jerry the King Lawler. My death match with Nick Gage was a crazy experience. Getting to see Jungle Boy sort of his career take off. I was sort of right there at that time. And also being right in the mix when there's a bit of a revolution in wrestling right now. So just be part of it and around. And just, getting to meet, the Demolition or doing a show where Sting's there signing and and getting to wrestle with the Honky Tonk Man. I mean, just like kind of dream stuff when I was a kid, and being able to work with these guys. And Honky Tonk sold for me, which was something he doesn't normally do. So I'm very grateful for that. And he was great. I found out. I probably shouldn't reveal my tricks, but sure I will. I typically, I'm a fan first, even before a wrestler and everything. So I typically go around at the signings and stuff. And when I have a second off, I go and I see the different booths and find a couple shirts I like or action figure. And I found a Honky Tonk Man one. And then I went over to him and I insisted on paying for an autograph, even though we were wrestling him, an hour later. But, he was really gracious. He signed it for me. I made sure I insisted on paying, and I think that helped. This helped his decision to sell for me.
Perfect. Well, David, you mentioned this documentary coming out. You Can't Kill David Arquette. When could the fans expect to possibly see it? And maybe can you tell us maybe a little bit more what we could expect?
It'll probably be summertime next year. It takes a little while for them to get up a plan, and we'll go to a film festival, and that's where you sell it. So we'll make an announcement pretty soon about sort of where it ends up. It's been submitted to a bunch of festivals, so we'll have more information about that, in the next few months.
All right.
Well, I don't know if you're aware of this, but in April of 2000, another movie that you did came out, Ready to Rumble. It is coming up on the 20th year anniversary of that movie. So,
that's so wild.
What do you think about that movie? And it's it's taken on its own life in the world of professional wrestling. Do you have fond memories of doing that movie, or was it something that was kind of hard because it was merging the two things of acting and professional wrestling?
No, the actual filming of it was incredible. I mean, I got to work with the Macho Man and Sting and Goldberg and all these incredible Diamond Dallas Page, who's like a true mentor of mine. And so that was a blast. I just had fun, and I was friends with Scott Conn before, and working with Oliver Platt was amazing. So that was a blast. But, it didn't do well when it first came out in theaters, but it had a bit of a cult on a Discovery on DVD and did really well. So it's lived on. I kind of say that my documentary, because Diamond Dallas Page is in it, I go to one of his DDPY retreats and ask for his advice. And he sets me up to meet some luchadors in Tijuana, and I go and wrestle there and have my first match, sort of unsanctioned match, 8-man tag team, mass tag team lucha. I got to wrestle in the streets of Tijuana, like street wrestling, when I asked for coins and stuff like that. But it was really cool, man. It was a very cool experience, and I like to say that the documentary is kind of an unauthorized sequel to Ready to Rumble.
Awesome.
Nice. Well, speaking of movies, I have it lined up in my queue, Mobtown, which was kind of filmed over here in our backyard, over here in the Hudson Valley. Can you tell us a little bit about it? And how was it like for you, maybe filming on this side of the country?
It was really cool. I mean, it was right sort of around the time I was getting back in the ring, so I was able to pop up to Northeast Wrestling, and on my birthday, I was filming on my birthday, and they gave me a cake, and King Brian Anthony up there slammed my head into a cake on my birthday. So that's part of the movie as well. And but Mobtown was really fun to make. I'm really good friends with Danny A, the director, and he cast me in it. He's also an actor in it, and it was just a fun experience. If you look at it, at the end of the film, Michael Lombardi, who's the main owner and promoter of NEW, takes a nice bump at the end of on the end of the movie. And he was visiting the set, and I said, Danny, this is Michael Lombardi. He can take the bump if you want someone to fall. And he took this great bump at the end of the movie, so everyone should check that out. He does a nice bump roll.
Oh man, I can't wait to see that. Awesome.
Yeah, it's fun. It's on it's online, or VOD or whatever.
Sure, and I'm a big mob movie fan, but I also understand too in 2020 you have a 12-hour shift coming out, and I understand Mick Foley makes a cameo in that too, huh?
Yeah, he sure does. Sorry, I'm over here in Arkansas. We're building a set for our next film, and we filmed 12-hour shift out here too with the same group of people. So, yeah, we were lucky enough to get Mick Foley to come out and do a few days on it, and he's wonderful. Such a great actor, man. And a lot of the wrestlers I've met are really wonderful actors, thinking on their toes. They know when things are real, when things feel, fake. So it's a great way to kind of, discover talent. There's such a pool of talent that I hope Hollywood sort of opens their eyes to. We're casting right now. We're casting some people, some wrestlers, and in this next film. So I want to keep putting wrestlers in the movies I produce.
Well, I want to let it out there that, if you ever need two podcasters, me and Jonathan are always happy to. I don't know how we would ever fit in the world like that, but we're just leaving it open for you,
Well, thank you. I sure will.
I make a mean grilled cheese sandwich too, if you need,
Oh, hey, it's some craft service.
Yeah, absolutely.
Catering. Oh, amazing.
So we know you're super busy. We don't want to let you. We don't want to keep you all day. Just got like 2 more questions for you.
No problem.
I think it's really amazing to kind of see nowadays, just to round you out. Obviously, people knew you as an actor first, and then you got into the world of wrestling. But a lot of people, just because of your connection to Hollywood, call you, a modern day Andy Kaufman, which is just incredible. I've been trying to get people to call me that my whole life, but it sounds like you're more like a modern day Renaissance man. You act, you wrestle, you do producing and all of that. But there's something else that I just recently learned about you because I follow you on Instagram is this thing.
I'm a certified Bob Ross instructor.
Exactly. So
yeah.
How did that happen?
Well, I've always loved Bob Ross, and I watched the show all the time, and found it relaxing, and I love the way he teaches art. And his whole philosophy was that he just wanted people to paint. People who thought they'd never have the skill to be able to paint, become artists. So I went down to New Smyrna Beach, Florida, and I took a 3-week course and got certified as a Bob Ross instructor. So now I typically use it as a charity thing where I either put it up for auction, or people can auction it off at different charities. Then they come to my studio and I put them through a lesson, or I'll go to a women's shelter or women's center and help the ladies there. And just, I did that right before Christmas, about 20 ladies, and taught them how to paint, and they get such a kick out of it. And I love teaching them. So it's been a fun thing to be able to do, and it keeps me painting and keeps sort of Bob's spirit alive. You learn a lot of stories about him, and you can share things that, people might not know, like he was a drill sergeant instructor before he became a television painting teacher. So he got so sick of screaming at people that he, assumed this he will never scream again kind of persona.
So if you're talking about Bob Ross, then obviously I want to know how well do you think he would have done in the squared circle?
Oh man, he's being a sergeant or Marine or whatever, drill sergeant. I'm sure he'd be pretty tough. That's a good gimmick, Sergeant Slaughter, obviously, but just a drill instructor, someone who's really does that would be a pretty good gimmick. So I think it'd be good. Or, I have talked to some people about doing a Bob kind of character where I come out and paint a painting, but he never hit anybody. So I'd have the angry trees come out and defend me, and then maybe I'd smack someone across the face with a paint full of brush full of paint kind of thing.
The final brush stroke could be your finish there.
Yeah.
But, well,
yeah.
Again, we want to thank you so much for coming on today. Obviously, you're aware of all professional wrestling. It's 2020. There's more wrestling out there than there's ever been before. You've recently done some stuff with WWE, but as you're well aware, they do have the Hall of Fame. Happens every year around WrestleMania. And they do have a celebrity wing of that Hall of Fame. And the fact that you were WCW champion alone should put you in there. But I'm wondering your thoughts on if you think that you'll ever be inducted into the celebrity wing of the WWE Hall of Fame.
I don't know. I don't know if I ever will be, but there's plenty of people that deserve it before me, like Cyndi Lauper or Andy Kaufman. I mean, there's tons of people that I think should be in there. So I just love wrestling. It's not now to me. It's not about belts or accolades or anything. It's about strapping on the boots and entertaining the crowds and meeting the people and having them sort of slap you on the back as you're going back to the locker room kind of thing. That's really the only reason I'm doing it, and getting to know some really incredible people. Like got to hang out with RJ City and Dalton Castle yesterday because Dalton lives in the Nashville area, and he drove down. Was nice enough to do that. And, so it's really about ultimately when you get into it, you find out that, and it's why people got so mad about it in the first place. Wrestling's about family. It's about entertaining, people generationally. People say all the time, like my father loved wrestling and he used to take me as a kid, and I'm taking my kid now. So that's really what it's about. So that's all that matters to me. I don't need any kind of accolades or any kind of I don't even need to win. I just want to entertain people and have fun, and I hope people enjoy this movie because it's a love letter to wrestling.
Oh, for sure. Well, we'll definitely spread the word. And David, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. And like I said, I think for what you've been doing the past few years in wrestling have totally washed over any bad negativity I think people used to say online about you. So I think what you've done, we thank you so much, because I think, any show that we've seen you at or up here at Northeast Wrestling, it's always been great. We've always been entertained with it. And I think, it's just been fantastic for what you've done.
Thanks a lot, Steve, and thanks, Jonathan. I appreciate you guys.